Good afternoon and welcome to White Hart Yard for the Royal College of Speech and Language Therapists Annual General Meeting 2024. Hello to everybody online. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. This afternoon I am joined by Karen Willis, Company Secretary, Irma Donaldson, Deputy Chair, Steve Jameson, Chief Executive Officer, and Anne Whitehorn, Chair of the Finance and Resources Committee. We have apologies from Professor Pam Enderby and from Lauren Edwards. Item 1. Welcome to the 72nd Annual General Meeting of the Royal College of Speech and Language Therapists. For those who do not know me, I am Sean Pert, Chair of the Board of Trustees. The calling notice for this meeting, together with the agenda, explanatory notes and proxy voting forms, were circulated to all members of the Rcslt in the e-newsletter of the 29th of August and by letter where necessary. All full members are eligible to vote in this meeting. When we come to vote, ordinary resolutions are passed by simple majority. Special resolutions require a majority of 75% eligible to vote and present in this webinar. We're going to have a test run of the online poll procedure just in a moment. And so Zoom tells us that we have, counting up there, about 13 members.
But it's coming, people coming in quickly.
So do you want to give us a moment for people to join? We'll just wait a moment for people to join and then we'll try that technical test in a little while. Super, thank you for bearing with us. We now have 20 members eligible to vote on this webinar, so I declare the meeting quorate. Okay, let's start with some housekeeping. So Q&A, do use the Q&A button to pose questions to the panel members. We will answer questions about the special resolutions as we come to each special resolution. However, if you have questions about the Trustees Annual Report or the annual accounts, we've allowed some time at the end. If we don't have time to answer your questions in the live event, then we'll get back to you after the event. When sending chat messages, please make sure to give your full name and membership number so that we can get back to you after the event. For the chat, we have staff on hand to help, so any technical questions can go to Jazz, who's the Rcslt host, and she'll do her best to help. All voting will be done via the poll function on Zoom. We'll put up a practice poll in a moment and you can see how it's done. Rejoining, you may leave and re-enter the event at any time with the same link. And if you've got any additional needs, please send a private chat to Jazz and she'll do her best to help you with that. Okay, we come to our first test poll. So hopefully this is going to show you how to vote. So this is a quick means of testing that technology. Tell us your favourite drink. Okay, so you can see that in true British fashion, we have tea in the lead, but with coffee coming up close on its heels. And we have some people who don't like hot drinks at all. And then other. So maybe that's hot chocolate or other things. So you can see that the function is working there for you. Thank you for doing that for us. So that brings us to item 2. So item 2 is minutes of the annual general meeting of the 8th of November 2023 last year. So it's the acceptance of those minutes. These have been circulated and are taken as read. I would like to sign these minutes as a correct record. May I have a proposer? You can use the virtual raise hand function to propose.
Judith Brown.
Thank you, Judith. You're the proposer. Can we have a seconder, please?
Gemma Hayne.
Thank you, Gemma, for seconding. There'll now be a voting screen will show, and please would you vote for, against, or abstain. We will allow 1 minute for that voting. Thank you. A majority are in favour and will sign the minutes on completion of the AGM. So now on to item 3, presentation, consideration and adoption of the Trustees Annual Report 2023-2024. This has been available on the website for the past fortnight and also been sent in hard copy to those members who requested it. Can we have a proposer, please?
Ruth Sedgwick.
Thank you, Ruth, for proposing. Could we have a seconder?
Ruth Crafton.
Thank you, Ruth. We will now invite members to vote for, against, or abstain. Thank you very much. The majority are in favour. The Trustees Annual Report 2023 to 2024 has been adopted. Thank you. So now we turn to impact and achievements by Rcslt.
It's so much fun and it's very rewarding, and at times it can be challenging, but you can get through it with the support of the Rcslt team.
We need to help these children and provide them with the necessary speech and language therapy on an ongoing basis.
Lovely, wasn't that a wonderful video? Thinking about quality of practice, co-production continues to be embedded across Rcslt's work, with particular progress during the year on the co-production of professional guidance. A co-produced version for a DLD-friendly society, with launch events in the Northern Ireland Assembly and Welsh Synod were also a highlight. Quality practice on innovation and excellence. We have continued to work with service users and member groups on a wide range of guidance. We have presented our data work at a number of different conferences, achieving national recognition. This groundbreaking work has been recognised internationally and will impact decision-making at clinical levels. Interesting there as well to note the increase in membership as well. Actually wonderful to see. Innovative organisation. We continue to support the future of the profession with stronger engagement with our students. We used our vacancy and recruitment survey to get national media coverage, and we launched the Rcslt Voice Box competition in Scotland, which received national and international coverage. Active influencing. Thanks to the work of members, resources were developed for and with the LGBTQIA+ colleagues, disabled SLTs, and neurodiverse SLTs. The nomination process continues to yield more diversity in the RCSLT's board and committees. Influencing took place across a range of areas, with a particular focus on workforce and on special educational needs and disability in England. We had success in the area of autism. Creating profile and opportunity. In Wales, Scotland and Northern Ireland, the focus of influencing included youth justice, children with support and learning needs, and increasing student places. It's nice to know the increase of places in Wales particularly. Funding and recovery. We concluded a project specifically focusing on long COVID. We continue to be actively involved in securing funding to improve services for people with communication needs. And you'll see there that we've been influencing things like waiting times and other member concerns. That brings us to item 3, ordinary resolution, adoption of Trustees Annual Report. So, to consider the adoption of the Trustees Annual Report for 23 to 24, may I have a proposer, please?
Judith Roll.
And a seconder?
Pippa Cotterill.
So I'll invite you to vote for, against or abstain. So we have a majority in favour of those. So I'll ask Anne Whitehorn, the chair of our Finance and Resource Committee, to speak on that matter. Thank you.
Thank you, Sean. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Right, slide 1. First of all, we'll look at the RCSLT's financial objectives. As trustees of the organisation, the board is responsible for ensuring that the charity is solvent, well run and able to deliver its charitable objectives. The overall aim of the RCSLT's financial strategy is to maintain long-term financial viability in order to achieve the objectives in the strategic plan. In order to measure performance against the overall objective, the board has approved 6 financial objectives, which are shown on the slide. 5 of these objectives were met during the year ended the 31st of March 2024. The board agreed in March 2023 that the one objective to generate an annual surplus of at least 3% could be waived in 23-24 due to holding sufficient reserves to fund an increased number of projects throughout that year. As part of the development of the new 5-year vision for 22 to 27, the board has reviewed its financial objectives and regularly reviews its spending plans to ensure that its financial objectives will be met. Right, we're now moving on to the income and expenditure account for the financial year ended 31st of March 2024. Income totalled £5.8 million. That was £200,000 more than last year, with growth in membership subscriptions. Expenditure increased by £300,000 to £6.2 million, with increased spending on staffing. This resulted in a deficit of £400,000 before investment gains. The net return on investments was a gain of £300,000. A formal valuation of the RCSLT's offices at White Hart Yard was carried out on the 31st of March 2024 and resulted in a reduction of £600,000 in the carrying value. So overall funds have decreased by £700,000 at the year end. Moving on to income, we'll now look at the slide. The majority of RCSLT's income is generated through membership fees, which last year accounted for 82% of total income. A further 10% of income comes from commercial trading activities, which include the sale of advertising space and royalties earned on subscriptions to the International Journal. RCSLT also receives smaller amounts of income from other sources, such as events, conferences, investments, grants, legacies, and donations. Now we will look at expenditure in 23-24. Our expenditure falls under 3 focus areas in line with our charitable objectives and our strategic plan, along with the expenditure on commercial trading activities and investment management costs. Staffing and other general costs are allocated towards these 5 main headings. Using this split, 47% of our expenditure, £2.9 million, goes towards the focus area quality practice, some of which Sean has just described to you in the previous item. 17% of our expenditure, just over £1 million, supports the focus area innovative organisation. A further 30%, £1.8 million, goes towards active influencing. Expenditure related to commercial trading activities is just over £390,000, 6% of our total expenditure. This is predominantly the cost of producing bulletin. And finally, £2,000 was spent on investment management costs. I'd now like to talk to you about the balance sheet for RCSLT. First of all, we have fixed assets of £3.8 million. This includes the building at White Hart Yard, IT equipment and office furniture. Next, we have £3.6 million of investments managed by external fund managers. Finally, our net current assets, which comprise debtors and cashless creditors, have decreased by £300,000 to £1.1 million. Overall, net assets have decreased by £700,000. The next slide deals with the annual audit. Under company law, the trustees of RCSLT are responsible for the preparation of the financial statements and for being satisfied that they give a true and fair view of the state of the charity's affairs. In preparing the financial statements, the trustees are also responsible for assessing the RCSLT's ability to continue as a going concern. The trustees have concluded that RCSLT is in sound financial health and the auditors have no concerns to report. With respect to the 2023-24 accounts, our auditors, Hayes McIntyre LLP, have concluded that the financial statements give a true and fair view of the state of RCSLT's finances as at the 31st of March 2024, and they have given us an unqualified audit report. We're now going to look at some of our spending plans for this current year, 24-25. Each year, the trustees review how much they plan to spend on projects to support members and service users, either directly or indirectly. We're planning to spend £503,000 on 24-25 on projects. We still hold £561,000 for future projects for the benefit of members in line with the 5-year vision. A fixed asset fund of £1,300,000 has been established, and this represents amounts already invested in fixed assets used in the charity's work. The table here highlights the bigger planned projects. A full table is in the published accounts on our website. Looking at some of the bigger projects, we will continue to invest in professional guidance for members with £56,000 set aside in 24-25. Research and development continues to be an area of investment with £37,000 set aside. Funds totalling £57,000 have been set aside to support the development of clinical excellence networks. £36,000 is planned to be spent on projects relating to the collection and use of data to support workforce planning. £77,000 is set aside to support projects relating to outcome measures and health informatics, including the further development of the Rcslt online outcome tool, better known as ROOT. Excuse me. Finally, we continue to invest in our digital development with £134,000 planned to be spent in 24-25. Finally, I'd like to speak about membership fees. Membership fees are the single largest long-term source of income we have, accounting for 82% of total income in 23-24. Looking forward, Rcslt aims to maintain the ongoing level of services offered to members, but recognises the challenges of inflation. The RPI for the 12 months up to August was 3.5%. Rcslt recognises the continued strain on Rcslt's financial position should inflation rates rise again. It is essential that Rcslt retains a robust financial position and continues to meet its financial objectives and KPIs. The Board of Trustees has therefore approved an average increase in membership fees of 3.5% for the year 25-26. For certified members, the increase equates to an additional £11 per year. Membership fees for all categories will be published on the Rcslt website in January 2025. In summary, Rcslt is in sound financial health, and we continue to prepare for and respond to the challenges presented by the less benign and uncertain economic times we face, meaning that we can continue working together to provide a voice for the profession and improve lives of our service users. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat and we'll try to answer them at the end or put the answers to your questions on the website after the AGM. I'll now pass back to Sean.
Thank you very much, Anne. We now take the second ordinary resolution to consider and adopt the annual accounts and auditors report for 2023-2024. May I have a proposer, please?
Francis Johnston.
Thank you, Francis. And a seconder, please.
Darlene Hansgy.
Thank you, Darlene. So now could you vote for, against, or abstain, please? Thank you. The majority are in favour of adopting the annual accounts and audit reports for 2023-24. Thank you very much. We now move on to item 5, ordinary resolution 3, the appointment of our auditors. So the auditors are Hayes McIntyre LLP as our auditors for 2024-25, and for the board to fix their remuneration. May I have a proposer, please?
Judith Roll.
Thank you, Judith. And a seconder, please.
Pippa Cotterill.
Many thanks, Pippa. So if you could now vote in favour, against, or abstain. Thank you. The majority are in favour. I declare the resolution carried. That takes us to item 6, ordinary resolutions 4 to 6, ratifications of the appointments to the Board of Trustees for 2024-2025. At the AGM in November 2021, in line with our commitment to increasing diversity in RCSLT's leadership and governance structures, Members voted to change the way we select board and committee members. The Board of Trustees established a nominations committee chaired by the Deputy Chair. The new selection process includes applications for key roles, interviews with panel members drawn from the Board of Trustees, members of the Nominations Committee and RCSLT members who are part of the selection panel pool. The Nominations Committee met to review the outcomes of the interviews and the Board have approved the recommendations made. You'll be asked to ratify 4 new trustees and the reappointment of our 1 existing trustee for a further term of 1 year.
It's 3 trustees.
3 trustees, apologies there, so 3 trustees. The biographies of these trustees have been posted on the website along with the papers for the AGM so that you can read these to inform your voting at the meeting. Jazz will also add a link to these biographies in the chat box at the beginning of the meeting today. Each ratification will be taken as a separate resolution. Item 6, ordinary resolution for ratification of appointment of Eve Baird as Deputy Chair of the Board. So to ratify the appointment of the Board to the Board of Eve Baird as Deputy Chair of the Board, may I have a proposer, please?
Ruth Sedgwick,
Thank you, Ruth. And a seconder?
Vicky Baker,
Thank you, Vicky. I now invite you to vote for, against, or abstain. Thank you. Our majority are in favour. I declare that resolution carried. That takes us to item 6, ordinary resolution 5, the ratification of the appointment to the board of Rebecca Sheeran as lay trustee and chair of the Finance and Resources Committee. May I have a proposer, please?
Darlene Hansgy,
Thank you, Darini. And a seconder?
Pippa Cotterill,
Many thanks, Pippa. I now invite you to vote for, against, or abstain. Thank you. A majority in favour. I declare that resolution carried. Thank you very much. Which brings us on to item 6, ordinary resolution 5, ratification of the appointment to the board of Anna Costello as HROD lay trustee. May I have a proposer, please?
Judith Rowe,
Many thanks, Judith. Could we have a seconder?
Ruth Crampton,
Thank you, Ruth. I invite you to vote for, against, or abstain. Thank you. The majority are in favour. I declare the resolution carried. Brings us to item 7, report of the composition of the Board of Trustees for 2024-25. The composition of the board for the period 24-25 is therefore Emma Donaldson, Chair, Eve Baird, Deputy Chair. Lay Trustee for Digital, Sandeep Sidhu, Lay Trustee and Chair of FRC, Rebecca Sheeran, and Anna Costello, HROD Lay Trustee. Country representatives for England North, Helen Robinson, England South, Vicky Baker, Scotland, Pauline Downey, for Northern Ireland, Ruth Crampton, and for Wales, Lauren Edwards. And our general trustees are Darini Hansgy, Francis Johnston, Angela Shimada, and Jenna Haynes. And our trustee for research and development is Madeline Brady. And our outgoing trustees, Nia's chair and Lisa Burrow as trustee HR for OD. And many thanks to Anne Whitehorn for her help with the FRC committee. Very much appreciated, Anne. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you for the opportunity to say a few words at the end of my tenure as chair of the Board of Trustees for RCSLT. This is my final event as chair of RCSLT, and what a different experience it's been. So much of the chair role has taken place online, but then there have been more adjustments than that. It's been a groundbreaking era for RCSLT. As a professional body, we've continued to promote clinical excellence, to connect and support and resource one another, to advocate for those whose voices aren't often heard in society, especially with those who hold power and budgets. Now it's time for me to hand over stewardship of RCSLT to Irma and to Eve, the incoming chair and deputy chair. I look forward to seeing the RCSLT to continue to grow under their leadership and to wish them every success for the years in office. Thank you to you both. So finally, it gives me great pleasure to pass the chain of office. Let's see, as I get the chain of office ready. We didn't practice this before. Office. There you go. And it's a great honour to pass that on to Irma, who's demonstrated commitment to our equality and diversity ambitions and shown great leadership as deputy chair. I know you'll be in safe hands with Irma under her chairship. Congratulations, Irma. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sean.
Would you like to swap? I think you should. There you go.
Thank you, Sean, for handing over the chain of office. I'd like to say thank you to you for the time that you've given to RCSLT over the last 4 years. So 2 years as deputy chair and 2 years as chair. You've navigated transition. We've had Steve come in as our new CEO, and you've been able to guide the board in the work that we've done in strengthening our governance processes. You've been part of the transition in terms of how we appoint people to committees and board members, which means that we are now in a position of having most diverse board and committee structure that we've had to date. There's still space to room to grow, but actually you've been part of that journey. So thank you for your commitment to the board, but also to speech and language therapy and everything that you do with your research, with your writing, in the way that you're passionately sharing the joy of speech and language therapy with students. But we thank you for the time that you've given to us and the commitment and the sacrifice.
Thank you so much. It's been a real pleasure. Thank you for your time. Thank you.
Before I move on to have the opportunity to ask our new chair some questions, I would just like to see if there are any questions coming in from our membership that you would like to ask the panel. So I'll just give a few minutes to see if there are any questions coming in. No questions. Okay, so it's my opportunity to ask our new incoming chair, Irma, a couple of questions. One question came from one of our members, Melanie Packer from Birmingham. And Melanie's asked, if you could look into the future, what would you see as being the measures of success at the end of your term as chair?
So at the end of 2 years, which will go quite quickly, I'm sure, I would like to know that I've been part of increasing public awareness of speech and language therapy as a whole. I think our profile as a profession could be increased. So I'd like to know that I've done something to do that. By increasing the profile of the profession, hopefully we'll be able to attract a more diverse group of people into the student body. I know that that's increasing, and I know that we've got 2 or 3 years for more diversity to come through in terms of the workforce. So I would like to see that we continue that journey in terms of increasing the workforce, so that we can meet the workload pressures that we have, so that we can fill our vacancies. These are big ambitions, and we'll see how we go in the next 2 years to actually achieving those. But also, I would really like to see that we have embedded our EDI strategy, So not only developed it and worked it through and thought about it, but embedding it into practice so that we're actually looking at EDI being normalised in speech and language therapy, opening up the uncomfortable conversations, enabling our workforce to be more comfortable with delivering services to a diverse population. And those are three things really that I'd like to be able to say I've had a part of supporting our CSLT.
Brilliant, thank you, and very exciting times ahead. And the second question is, what are you most looking forward to in taking up the position as chair?
I'm looking forward actually to meeting more members. I'm looking forward to actually hearing from the membership what's really important to them to actually help us in how we're delivering support to the membership, because our CSLT is a membership organisation. So we need to be able to be going around and hearing what members are feeling, what they're thinking, what's important to them to help drive our strategy moving forward. I'm looking forward to being part of the conversations to support how work is developing within the Rcslt staff body and the work that you're doing and supporting you, Steve, as we move together to achieve the aims that we want and meet the strategic goals that we're setting together. I think we are in for exciting times. There are challenges, not diminishing the challenges that we're facing and that speech and language therapists are facing, but actually building on the great work that's happening in terms of influencing and getting the voice heard with policymakers to make a real difference.
Brilliant, thank you. And final one. What would you say to other SLTs or future SLTs who might be considering whether to be a board member or sit on a committee? What would you say to them?
I would say that as speech and language therapists, we're very good at focusing on our clinical areas and developing ourselves as clinicians and wanting to get the best impact for the service users that we're working with. But we can't forget that by developing those clinical skills, we're building a whole range of skills that can be utilised. And that includes leadership, leadership at all levels of your career. And I would say that being involved in our CSLT committees, work, projects will actually help you see the broader perspective, the broader context of the work that we're living, the work that we're living in, the work that we're doing across the country. So actually thinking about speech and language therapy across the country, being part of setting that strategic direction and helping to ensure that we're sustainable and building on what we are as a profession. That's something that you can be involved in if you're part of the Rcslt board. So being able to ask questions, to challenge in a helpful way so that we can actually improve what's happening for everybody, within the profession, within the staff, but most importantly for our service users and actually the impact that we have on people's lives from birth to death. It's immense. So we need to celebrate that, but we also need to maximise that. And we need people to come along and help us and help each other, actually. I'm saying us as though it's them and us. It's not them and us, it's a we. We are our DSLT, the members are our DSLT. So come and support that direction. Brilliant.
Thank you so much. Some really exciting times ahead, and congratulations on becoming a new chair. Certainly from a staff point of view, we all really look forward to working with you as our new chair. That brings us to the end of our AGM. I just want to say thank you to everyone who has joined us today, and thank you to all the team as well behind the scenes who's made it so smooth and efficient. So thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.